Hello everybody, and welcome to the LGL officially unofficial cast coverage of the LGL 2020 summer split. Initialize. We've got Game 6 upon us. I am still your host with the most, Alex, otherwise known as Lexi by Master Swan, otherwise known as Master Swan. Wait, I flubbed that halfway through. Doesn't matter.
You mostly got there.
Mostly. And I'm joined by the man that mostly fixes my sentences, Sam, otherwise known as Initialize Hapgood. With 6 games down? No, we're about to get 6 games down.
Yeah, it's been a long day. It's longer still to go. Next match is going to be V3 versus CGA, which is our, coming into the day before Sengoku played and stuff, was our top 1 versus top 1 and 2 teams facing off. And knowing the way these guys like to fight early, I am expecting a bloodbath.
Yeah, this is just going to be a pure aggression. This is going to be, well,
I'm hoping this lasts. I'm really hoping this lasts.
Could last. But after the performance off of the current leading KDA player of Boogie in the world, having a performance like this on Kha'Zix,
bit terrifying.
I'm terrified for the substitute. Well, is he even a substitute now? Isn't he just the official?
I think he's the starter. Yeah,
the starter now, Unica. I can't help but be trembling in their boots if I was them.
It could get rough. And V3 have largely been one of our better level 1 early game planning teams. Even saying the last game where the way the draft went, it's like, okay, we know where we've got pressure and know to be for counter gang stuff. That kind of mindset and just map awareness is very sharp in 3. They are very quick to know how to play a lane and where they need to be turning things around, particularly Boogie.
Yes, and we saw that a few times, especially around that counter gank with Ace. Immediately, one of the two of them was making the call, and a snap went on it, got first blood, and both members got out safe. And at one point, it almost looked like Syros might be turned on upon by Boogie, but was not. Last time we saw this match, it went in favor of V3. I mean, it's not surprising, they are undefeated, but it must be said, that game originally against them, it was an interesting matchup to say the least, right, Initialize?
Yeah, it was. It was very interesting, if only because it was one of the most brutal level 1 plans I have seen out of a team in quite some time. Namely that Boogie set up vertical jungling to kind of isolate CG. Bot lane, CGA's bot lane was running the Ezreal Yuumi. The Ezreal Yuumi had to start Arcane Shift level 1 because they got caught in a level 1. Reiner on Thresh then proceeded to land every damn hook whenever he was on screen with. In kind of ridiculous fashion, despite having to deal with the Zumi speed up and with the Arcane Shift and with a flash. Landed so many to the point where they managed to force the Ezreal under tower, then get a double kill under that tower and snowball super hard from there. But it was this kind of textbook play of vertical jungling into bot lane dive with a lot of style thrown on it as well. And that was the point when I think all of us on the cast went, okay, these guys are the real deal. Yeah. That was sublime.
And that game was also when Paz and Ace didn't die that game. Ace going 1-0-10 and Paz going 0-0-10. They didn't need to be the players right in the spotlight. They played the support and initiation role beautifully. And the members of CGA, when they wanted to run, well, what's great at catching you? That Karma that Ace plays so beautifully. And the great thing about Ace on that Karma is it just nullifies the best mid laner in the region.
Yeah, that is the big deal, right? That Arya is probably the best mid laner. Well, he is the best mid laner.
Yeah.
To the point where we can never truly count CGA out because they have got this mercurial superstar in the mid lane who carries on a wealth of champions. To distraction, frankly. Like, he has turned games around he should never have been allowed to be in the first place.
A fair few games immediately spring to mind around that.
Yes. The Casting game earlier on in this split is the one that haunts me to this day.
But sir,
We are. Hello.
go on. No, you lead.
I know, I got caught there. I was going to go, and then you were going to go, and then that was possibly the least smooth transition.
Let's go
to
as
pick a band
fast
we've
as
ever had.
possible into the pick and ban phase so that you can
man.
take over, sir. So you
Oh,
may go.
dear.
Let's go over to the pick and ban phase.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Sorry for that. That was a little bit of an ugly transition, but we're here. We're in mostly
you're in
one
charge.
piece. Now I'm in charge, and it also means that V3 Esports will be taking to the Rift for the second time this week. And of course, on the other side will be CGA Crest Gaming Act. V3 are on the blue side once again, and it's still Paz, Boogie, Ace, Archer, and Reiner making out their roster.
Yeah, for CGA, it's Nap in the top lane, Unica in the jungle, Aria, that'll start in the mid lane, Gango and Grendel in the bot lane, and 2 bans for CGA being that Karma from last time they faced off, and the Ashe against Archer.
Banning away a few interesting picks are V3, namely the Volibear they just don't want to deal with. It's pretty strong right now. Kog'Maw is an interesting one. AP Kog'Maw in particular is just so annoying. And if anybody is going to be to destroy Ace on that particular pick, it would be Arya. Thelios was the ban, and it's the double AD carry ban you mentioned on the side. Does mean that Archer will go straight away and first pick the Kalista. What is Gango going to go towards? So many of those high-tier, high-priority AD carries have now been banned. Varus, Fortune maybe? Ezreal still on the table?
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal makes the most amount of sense if you look at the pure tier list, but this might just come up to a point where they might be planning to lock in an AD carry on 4th or 5th pick, potentially, just to kind of pick an AD carry that works into a comp. You could think Kai'Sa, where she's very linear in what she wants to do. She wants to dive with the rest of her team, do a burst amount of damage, and currently we haven't seen an AD carry, though Set is a flexible pick between 3 different lanes, but only when Graves isn't picked also. So it's a flex pick between 2 lanes really now.
Yeah, and I will also say that Grendel has been really loving the Set recently. He's been looking pretty good on that. And so I imagine it's going down bot. Plus it removes it from the Kalista. Kalista Set is just dumb. Really dumb. You throw Set in, he face breakers people for more CC, he showstoppers for more CC, and you spend all your time CC'd and then die to a number of spears being pulled out of you in a bloody mess. Instead of all that, and Boogie once again playing with the Evelyn Hover, he goes towards the Thresh for Reiner. Kalista Thresh is pretty much a lane as old as Kalista's been in the game.
Do you think Boogie does that on purpose because he follows you on Twitter?
You gotta hope. I believe. That's what I'm gonna believe.
He's just like, and Corporal and him are like, yeah, we're just going to keep hovering stuff that they want us to pick.
They're memeing me. They're deliberately haunting me.
We're never going to pick it. Why would we pick it? No, that's silly. Does, however, get that Nidalee in, and we've seen Boogie do some real, honestly, it's slightly adult-rated stuff on Nidalee.
Yeah, he did dirty things specifically to Hoglet the first time V3 faced off against Axes, and it was a dismantling, to be honest. The level 1 invade threw Hoglet off for pretty much the entire game, and it was in this matchup, Nidalee versus Graves, where Boogie really prefers the Nidalee over the Graves at the moment. The Renekton will be locked in for CGA as their last pick in this round. Takes it away again from V3, because Paz is a great Renekton, and Renekton Nidalee is good. Through to the second phase of bans, though, it's Gango's Draven is the one I'm kind of keeping my eyes on there. It's been banned away. Other side, it's Ace's Galio, both taken off board. A couple... I won't call Galio a pocket pick, because it's kind of relatively popular, but it is a pick that's become quite synonymous with Ace. Yeah,
especially for us over in the LJL. If you said Galio, I immediately think of Ace over basically every other player. So I would say it's definitely a pick of his. It is interesting, as we did see V3 against DFM decide to priority pick that over giving Boogie a jungler. This time, though, however, they're deciding to priority pick Boogie on that Nidalee. Maybe they just really want this pick against Graves. Maybe they've seen this kind of lineup and they're like, oh, against them we just pick Nidalee and we just never have to worry about it. I can just gank Unica, solo find him in the jungle. I know his path back to front. I know his path better than my own path because I have multiple paths, so I don't know which one I'll take. Makes sense. We're seeing a fair few hovers, and we did see a Sylas lock in as well. Well, ban rather as well.
And it's back, baby. Fourth pick for CGA is Jhin, and it couldn't be more appropriate. We've been starting to see a bit of a resurgence of this champion in recent weeks. I know I was on the desk yesterday when it was picked in the VCS. We saw it earlier today as well, and I am curious to see how this particular champion plays up against V3. Mordekaiser locked in as well.
So now it fully comes down to what is Ace going to pick and what is Ardia going to pick into it. That's why the Sylas was banned.
It's AP Jhin mid, I'm telling you now.
So what is he going to pick? There's the Cassiopeia is open. Syndra's open. I really... No, Ace. No. 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 Why is Syndra's open? Would you...
Okay, so they've already got a fair amount of AP on the top side of that with the Nidalee and the Mordecai, so I can understand wanting to go for an AD threat, and Jace is Ace's comfort champion. In spring, he played it a lot. It looked very mediocre. And Arya is thinking about going towards his so-good LeBlanc. It's locked in last. Ace is going to have to prove to me that this new revamped, stylistically amazing V3 can make the Jace mid work in a way that we had questions.
I mean, in all fairness to Ace, if he just does a complete repeat of what we saw against CJ last time, just nullify Arya. Just roam when he roams, or aggressively poke him so he can't go too far away from you, and then just clear the wave really quickly so you get 1 or 2 turret plates so Arya feels like they have to come back and respect you. I mean, Jace is okay at pushing turrets, okay at clearing waves, and if anyone's going to be able to do it, I believe in this version of V3 and this version of Ace, personally.
Yes, I agree. I will say, I know Nymera was doing some VOD reviews. I know I was kind of having a look through it and sort of had some questions about Ace's mechanics still. So maybe this could be a punishment. And if anybody was going to do it, it would be Arya.
But it raises that question. Mechanical skill, you can hit a ceiling with your mechanical skill, but if you're just able to play around the rest of your team's skill, and you're also able to read into it, we saw it immediately at the end of the in the DFM game. Ace would immediately just respond to anything around the map and would go instantly and be the team player. He doesn't need to be the carry anymore, as he's more than happy for Boogie, Paz, Archer, or in some cases himself to have to carry it, or Reiner when he's going off on set for once, because why not? There's options, and I don't think you need to look at Ace as a typical mid laner, and I think that's something that I've been cheering of his praises for recently.
Well, we've seen the rosters, we kind of know how. That's some fairly impressive stats right there for V3, and for his second place team, CGA don't have second place stats.
But that partly is how they play, right? Initialize. They play very down and dirty. They want to either just get it all in or not bother. Interesting, KA at 15, they are lowest out of everyone.
Massively surprised to see that, but I think part of that is because their junglers don't start things all that well, do CGAs, and they tend to wait until those team fights later on where Arya can really destroy people, and those kills tend to be for Arya popping off and the rest of the lanes being relatively, well, back and forth.
But the big one to really hone in on is you can forget about the KA at 15. The gold difference at 15 is the real huge. Big one. It's basically over 2. It's 2K. It's over 2K.
The overall differential. Yes.
But that's absurd that you can just go, okay, well, at 15 minutes, if V3 don't have a 2K gold lead over CGA, it's pretty weird. They kind of had that against DFM, and that was our game of the week because so much was on the line for both of these teams. They've defeated DFM. I have to ask you now, Initialize. We normally try and do this before the draft, and we normally try to, but we did this off cast while we were on our break. I want to ask you now, while we're waiting to get onto the Rift, who did you predict to win this matchup?
I predicted V3.
Sorry, what was that? You cut off at the end.
Sorry, I predicted V3.
Okay. So predicting V3, does that change? I will also join you, by the way, on that prediction. Does that change now that you've seen the drafts?
No, but I will say I have some questions.
Fair.
And I will say that LeBlanc plus Graves plus Jin is a hell of a lot of burst on few members on V3. And I worry about Ace Jace.
It is definitely a pick that is worthy of being worried about, as we have had many questions about it. It's rarely performed up to the same level. The problem is we haven't seen Ace play the Jace since he's had this level up moment. He's found a new role in the team where he doesn't have to be the dedicated carry. He can play this kind of supportive role. And Jace isn't a terrible champion to just AFK poke Qs through your accelerated shield a bunch and just wait around a little bit as Sir, looks like something's about to happen.
Oh yeah, it looks like this might be the game of the week for the official stream. We had some different thoughts, and there is that match of the day coming through, V3 versus CGA. Beautiful vitamin D adverts there, they just love. And very angry man yells at you about the LJL game is on. It's always entertaining watching that. I mean, the thing is, for all that I'm a little bit nervous about the mid lane matchup, I will say I'm just as nervous for the jungle matchup in the other way around. Boogie has absolutely eviscerated people on Nidalee versus Graves. Like, it is not been pretty. And that could be problematic.
Yeah, it really could be. It could present a lot of problems moving forward for CGA. Unica has definitely been a point where outside of one game has always been kind of behind in a lot of spots. Nothing interesting or really of note out of any of these runes or... No, everything's actually as expected. Good. At least we don't have to go anything crazy there where like, why did he do this? It's like, no, everything here's normal. Yeah, unless I'm missing something, Initialize.
No, they're all pretty normal, to be completely honest with you. No phase rush for both Graves and Set makes a lot of sense. They like to be speedy. Hail of Blades is pretty normal tech on Kalista. Yeah, that feels pretty standard to me.
Alright, so everything's pretty standard. We've got some pretty standard jungle paths for the early game. Both junglers are going... It takes Nidalee a little bit to actually get her first clear done, but once that's done, it accelerates a lot faster.
Yeah. I suppose the one choice it might be worth talking about is it is Electrocute Jason, not something like the Phase Rush, which is sometimes the tech that people go towards. But I can understand in the mid lane where you don't have to run away quite so much. You might have a bit more room to go to the damage. Rune and Gango waiting around on that fourth shot. Bit of a black hole in the gun right there. And that Twitter vote, as you were kind of just wincing over, is pretty heavily in favour of V3.
But it's not unexpected. If you looked at the raw stats, which is how people sometimes look at it, wow, AI bot actually can do 50-50. It doesn't actually want to predict who's going to win this. Interesting.
Boogie at level 3 looking for that early gank. Archer now coming forward. Flash Flay! Exhaust onto Gango. He burns the flash in the hill, but the slow from the Rend. Flashing forwards now is the Nidalee. Does get first blood, but it's onto Reiner, not the best target. Gandalf is there. Gets a massive haymaker, but no kill. The early game was as explosive as we expected, and Boogie strikes first. Archer and Reiner with the Summoner's Burn get the kill. That spear lands, but not all that much damage. Boogie just trying to trade onto this Graves and be as obnoxious as he damn well can be. That's a second spear, but Grendel roaming up will prevent too much more. Ace roaming down will allow Boogie access to this Scuttle Crab, and an early game advantage, surprise, surprise, goes the way of V3.
But it's not only that, it's think about what he was doing for Unica for about 20 seconds. Unica basically realized he can't even do anything on that side of the jungle. He has to sacrifice the crab there, and now he's... God.
Okay, thinking about going in now is Boogie, but a little bit risky. And I have to praise Nap there for actually roaming down and starting the Scuttle Crab. So Unica could just come down and collect it, because otherwise Boogie would get there at the same time. And that would have been, chances are, as a double Scuttle start, which is when you're looking at two hyper-scaling, hyper-farming junglers. If you get an early advantage, that can quickly snowball out. It's a very volatile. that we've seen so many.
Yeah, we've seen it a bunch of times happen. V3 Esports find the first blood, they find the first kill, and through that, as well as small advantage, and they're already starting to push it. Looks like Boogie's already in hunting mode, yeah.
That skirting of the river vision gets Boogie into the jungle. He's hunting for Krugs, finds it, waiting for the pounce, goes over the wall, and he's just going to start to harass Unica's jungle. And the Renekton under the turret, maybe they think about going for a dive, but we all know how weak side Renekton plays, and we all know how weak side Nap plays on Renekton.
I mean,
could be a risky dive.
It's his normal play. Snap is used to playing weak side. He's used to not expecting anything from his junglers, whether it was Yoshi, whether it's Unica. He knows he's not getting any help. He's got to do it all on his own, and he's kind of okay with this. He's always found spots. Both junglers do happen to reset and basically get very similar buys. The amount of gold that they are sharing, yes, Boogie has a slight advantage, but it's not huge as he didn't get the kill, remember? That did happen to go to Reiner. So, less ideal with the gold being shared around, but worth noting, Boogie is going to probably get here a little bit too late to contest this dragon.
He's going to be over the back of the wall, might think about it, but they can see it started. It would be a very aggressive and likely a one-way trip if Boogie went over. He might throw the spear, tries to steal it, but Unica holds the smite and holds his nerve. Red team have got the first dragon is what turns up on the screen there, and it's CGA getting the Infernal Dragon. I was reading the Japanese thinking, why am I saying red team? It's CGA. But here we go. Mid lane, actually slightly in favor of Arya right now. Serrated Dirk picked up for Jace early on, which is a poke, but that will be it for now. Mordekaiser has got the early Bramble Vest that you can index into early. I know that Nymera is a huge fan of that on Mordekaiser into AD matches like Renekton. You can do that, plus Tabby, plus Zhonya's, and effectively have 5 cloth armors in inventory and make the double AD top jungle of CGA feel really impotent.
Yeah, and look at this. Immediately, Boogie's like, where's the crab? I want to grab the crab. I want to counter jungle him. He also is going to expect me to have started red side, so I'm just going to go, haha, I didn't start red side, I started blue side, I can get this. I can also then rotate around, fight for his red or my own red. I might also just do crazy things, because I'm Boogie. Items, first items haven't come in, and Unica's hungry, interestingly enough.
They're looking for the dive. Grendel has got flash, and the summoners that were burned earlier, that is just that. And I think wisely V3 start to shove in, but Nap is preparing for the teleport. V3 need to get this going down. They know Unica's there. The teleport's coming. V3 about to have their own medicine thrown at them. And CJ, thank you for the last time. Grendel taken very low. That's the exhaust out. Flash in from Nap will get the kill. And Archer is dead. Now CJ need to retreat. The Renekton is very, very low. 1-for-0 in the dive, but not the cleanest I have ever seen. Paz get some alone time on the top tower.
Yeah, and it really does depend how much time Paz gets up alone in this top lane, because if he gets 2 turrets plates for this, it's not even worth the dive. The amount of experience and gold that Nap is currently missing out on, in comparison to the amount of gold that Paz is going to be getting, is just ridiculous. There's already going to be a level disparity now because of this teleportation. He's also got a turret plate due to this. It's gonna be difficult to say, and if anything, I think technically V3 actually came out on top because so many members happened to go down into that bot lane.
I wonder. I definitely Grendel took a lot of damage. There's a number of summoners burned, and it does hurt the top lane matchup. It's looking pretty good for Nap for a while. If I look at the replay and work it out again, I'm kind of curious to see exactly how low Grendel got going in for this play.
Oh, Grendel went horrendously low. What also happened is Nap was the only one tanking the turret after Grendel, so that could have also been done far cleaner if Unica was the one that actually tanking the turret, like actually juggled tanking. Because they played it so messy, it forced a lot of the members to all back up straight after that engage, which meant with 4 members, they weren't able to push the bot lane turret. Which is what you're meant to be doing if you do that. So you can at least get a few of the turrets, because then if you can get a Rift Herald, you can just push it in one go.
Like, I'll call it a successful dive, but they got the minimum rather than the maximum. And part of that was
they got the bare
some slight misplays. Part of it was Boogie turning up.
True.
And they use quite a lot to get to it. Flashes and teleports, and they're going to try
Ace.
and dive onto Ace now. That's what they're going for, the flash out of Ace. Got to avoid the fourth shot. That's going to be a lot of damage. And Gango calls the curtain onto Ace. Exit stage left. Jace falls down with a well-orchestrated gank mid from CGA.
That was pretty terrible, as I'm pretty sure if Ace just continuously moved one way or the other, he wouldn't have gotten hit. He just decided to try and play all fancy pants, and I'm a bit confused what he did. Did get pretty aggressive here, allowing Arya to actually land the chain there. Gango actually missed the stun. Ace could have definitely gotten out if he just continuously walked into his own jungle, but decided to go back? I'm a little bit confused there. He had to always get hit by 2 and got hit by the last 2. Well played by Gango though for the prediction.
Yeah,
in all
exactly,
fairness.
yeah, exactly. And that's the deal there. It's like it's all well and good calling out Ace, but sometimes that's just bad luck. And Rhino was inches away from being able to get a lantern, couldn't quite do it. It was chain into Deadly Flourish and chain as well, so a lot of CC down. Just credit to CGA for a well-played gank. It's still an early gold lead to V3, but CGA are at least punching back here. Rift Herald and inventory for Boogie is worth pointing out, so could be using that at some point in the near future. Till such a time as that, though, we're going to possibly have a bit of a lull state for the first time in a while. Though I say that, and yet Mountain Drake spawning in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, it probably won't be happening for much longer. That was the lull state that we were getting. now we're back to figuring out fighting over everything, and what more can I say except you're welcome, as we will also be having a 50-50 on the rift we're going to be having. Are we going to have a repeat of the rift that we've seen countless times, or are we going to have a new rift? We're going to have an ocean rift initialized. Ooh.
It would be nice to have a bit of a change, wouldn't it? V3 are going to start up the Mountain Drake, but CGA are looking raring to come along and fight. Whereas the rest of V3, Archer isn't quite here as yet. That's a big problem. But a Grendel taken so down. Just goes down before the Haymaker gets to come out. The turnaround, though, is Ace. Is life. He goes down. Now the Curtain Call comes out. Trying to tank out as much as they can. That's the Drake secured by V3. It'll be 1-for-1. Plus the Drake in favor of V3.
Okay, and we're on an Ocean Rift. Which, I mean, you can't say it doesn't favor the whomever can find the extra Drakes. It's going to be huge. Boogie's also going to be dropping the Rift Herald here, as Archer is also pushing up this lane. Not planning to get too much more, just wanting to try and give some money over to Archer and himself, rather than also onto Rhino, which I really like. Boogie's very smart at doing this and trying to coordinate the team so the most amount of gold goes on the important members and basically funneling it in an effective way. Obviously, that didn't go perfectly in the first blood, and Rhino does have the only 2 kills on the side of CGA, on the side of V3 rather. So it's still gone brilliantly, but
okay,
we're saying there's still a chance. There is still advantage.
There's still a chance. There is still an advantage, but it's in some awkward position. You're completely right to point that out. Whereas on the other side, Gango's Jhin, 100% kill participation, looking pretty clean on this champion thus far.
Yeah, it's only one curtain call that they really missed, and it was completely blind in all fairness, so yeah, they were trying to hit 3 members, and while we had perfect vision of everything going on there, the player themselves didn't, so don't have a problem. Pretty clean from Gango so far. Grendel has been playing pretty solidly on this set as well, so we're keeping things very interesting. What is worth noting is Paz has just been very quietly farming this whole time. Hasn't had TP because they did end up TPing pretty early on in the game back into lane. So now he has got that TP. Does also have a turret plate advantage over now.
That's what he got. That was the trade for the TP bot. And it also evened up the CS discrepancy that Paz was suffering early on. So yeah, you're absolutely right to call that one out. Looking at a few first item completions here as well, namely the Ludens and Storm Razor complete for the LeBlanc and the Jhin. Only item parts right now for V3, but we might well see a reset that changes that around. Nope, still components for Jace not there at a full completed item as yet, which is problematic. Sure, Archer will be looking in the back and getting some of his own fairly.
Yeah, I mean, Arch is currently sitting on about 5k gold, whereas Gango is sitting on actually, they're both sitting on about 5.2, 5.3k gold, so it's pretty even in what they've got. It just so happens that obviously Gango is able to solo in onto this one item of the Stormrazor, as opposed to what Arch has to do with the Blade of the Ruin King, as it does cost a little bit more money. No, wait, it's actually the same, isn't it?
For which perspective? Stormrazor versus Blade of the Ruin King? I think both 3-100, aren't they?
3-2, right?
3, possibly.
I think. Oh, it's the extra Doran's blade that Archer decided to buy in the early game. That's basically a reason why he can't afford it. Also, the Berserker Greaves are about 200 gold more than Boots of Swiftness, so maybe that's affecting it.
Some discrepancies, for sure. Either way, I suspect the item will be complete by the time this Ocean Drake spawns, and I know that we are going to want to contest it. Is the Callista comp? They're going to want to fight around objectives where impossible. Boogie now over the wall, looking for the dive. That is the Fate's Call. Not popped. Oh, and it was popped. Didn't get anywhere. Now Grendel's going in, trying to find the showstopper, going backward. That is a massive haymaker, but the teleport's now coming through. Grendel escapes, but Reiner does not. Nap gets the kill onto Boogie, and V3 went for a fight they could not win. That's a shutdown that comes through. Paz gets Gango, but now he is in a 4 versus 1 and falls down for a double to Arya. 3 for 1 is the kills for CGA, and now they get to shove onto this tier 1 bot, and they get to roam over to this Ocean Drake that will be spawning very shortly. And CGA, what a fantastic early game.
I mean, this was just the rotation out of CGA that was just far superior. Nap came in far quicker on that TP coming in as opposed to Paz. At the same time, you have to look at how quickly Arya rotates immediately around. Look at that. Already walking down. Ace is still chilling in this lane. Comes down.
Oh, that's so sad.
Longer. Look at that. They get the great initiation. It looks like it's going to be a fair 3-on-3. Problem is, it's not, because Nap gets to come in, Arya gets to come in, and they just get to do it. Look at this. Ace is only just coming down. Paz is able to kill Gango. That's great, but the problem is, Paz, the rest of your team are just dead or not there. Grendel's able to get out on basically 100 or 250 HP, and that's all she wrote. That was just complete favor CGA. They rotated around far better, and whoever was making the call on the side of V3 didn't make it fast enough.
Yeah, I have also got to point out that the Fate's Call there, Reiner hit the wall with it. He didn't manage to get far enough to get onto Gango, which was really sad. That's a big hop onto Unica, putting him down to half HP before this begins. And the thing is, V3 have got very nasty double poke at this point in the game, and if they get a chance to just sit up here and poke at people, CGA could feel really sad.
Yeah, oh yeah, they can sit and dance around this dragon for a very long time, because they're going to be able to push the lane, then rotate back around, and before you know it, they're immediately punishing you. Unica is their smite, so they're going to have to do it, though this dragon's going down fast.
It's going down pretty damn fast. Boogie trying to come over, trying to be in here. It's a big level advantage for Boogie. He steals it. The smite advantage swings true, but now the fight begins. Unica's already got 1 kill. Reiner dies again for the second time this time around. The curtain call comes out, but wait, Paz in the backline trades onto Nap, but he dies as he comes out of the death roll. It is a 1 for 2 in favor of CGA, but the dragon goes the way of V3.
You have to say it's slight favor over to V3 in that exchange, but very, very mildly. It's really impressive, honestly, to watch Boogie get this. They allow... Who tanks this? So immediately that comes in. That's the problem. Reiner gets hit by Arya's combo almost immediately. He's nowhere near tanky enough to be able to take that. The Death Realm is onto Renekton and Nap, but it doesn't matter as the rest of the team aren't able to follow up. But Grendel?
Grendel.
Oh, well, he's got to do it at least once. He's got to do it once, right?
He is the primary face checker. He had a great engage in the last dragon fight, managed to find his way under 3. This time around, he ends up in a lot of trouble, and it is Boogie onto this Rift Herald again. V3 have been seriously focusing this objective the last game and a half. They're going to get this one as well with a kill to boot. And V3 are down in gold here. It's worth pointing out they are down about 1,000 gold. But they have got a Rift Herald to their name. And they may well be able to even that gold up with a turret that they can probably get towards with a well-used Rift Herald.
What's also worth noting is they haven't been able to push this bot turret, which it's rather low in the grand scale. So once they're able to get this bot turret, the gold differential will also go significantly lower. It will go down to basic. Well, actually, it'll go down to less than a K, which is it's almost already at. It's teetering on that 1K gold lead. After that, it'll be about 300-400, maybe 500, but you don't even start talking about gold leads at that point, because that's what you expect some laners to have an advantage over others.
Sure. And that's not been the problem thus far here. Leandries is in for the Mordekaiser, which is good news. Black Cleaver in for the Renekton on the other side. Medjai's was the early pickup for Arya, though, which could be a problem. But actually, before we get to any of that, there has been this gang towards Paz, who's having to back away. Unica hunting, looking for the fight. Ace and Boogie are coming down, though, and there's the Death Realm to prevent too much more of happening. Paz trying to find as much time again. That is the massive pullback. Unica in a lot of trouble. Paz stepping forward, trying to get the kill. Can't quite find it, and Arya gets the kill onto the Mordekaiser. The Knight of Death falls down to LeBlanc, and that feels like a lore story if I've ever heard one. That will be the kill onto the Mordekaiser, as there is no Drake available, so it is just going to be the pick, but good stuff from CGA to punish Paz, trying to push up a little bit too far with no turret to protect him.
Arya is now on an 18 stack Medjai's. The AI bot predicts 80% in CGA's favor. It's been teetering around, but because of how the last few fights have gone, it went to almost just 60%, but due to how the last minute or two has gone really at that 90-minute mark when CGA caught out V3 again, it's just in their favor. CGA just keep having this number, and Unica is dictating the pace of this game. A has almost a perfect kill participation, hasn't died, and Boogie is getting schooled in his own jungle.
Well, he kind of is, but Unica was being down 2 levels for most of this game. That's a big deal. And actually, a lot of the objectives, it's 2 Rift Heralds and 2 Dragons over. But Unica has done a very, very good job of turning up in the right places, and he has basically been a bit of a slave to his laners.
Oh,
and
complete
it's worked
slave.
out pretty well, but it's worked out pretty well thus far. When you've got a LeBlanc at 13 stacks on a Medjai Soul Stealer, 3-0 and 5. This Jhin at 2 items, 3-2 and 6. This Renekton at 2-1 and 5. That's pretty damn good news. And V3 need to be pretty afraid, especially as they're going to have to start contesting into the dark in this river around this Ocean Drake that will be spawning in 30 seconds. They're going to summon the Rift Herald to buy themselves some priority in mid and look to contest and get themselves towards that Ocean Soul point.
What's also worth noting is that all 5 members of V3 here are ready and prepared.
Curtain call, and Naps in the backline. He's popped the Dominus. That's the showstopper. That's a massive Cull the Meek trying to keep people down, but Grendel taken very, very low, and V3 survive. But there's a lot of summoners burned. Passes in the Death Realm, but manages to escape for now. Arya had to burn Flash to escape the Death's Grasp. And for now, it is just summoners, just health bars, no deaths. But as you can see, CGA do have control. They're going back in. Nap gets one with the assist. It's a Gango who picks that one up. That is a dead Kalista. And CGA have bought themselves this 3rd Drake. What? Or 2nd Drake for them, I suppose.
Well, they're finding these opportunities in. Obviously, Boogie will probably fight them for this dragon at some point if they find the opportunity. Huge damage.
Well, that's Arya doing Arya things. The Medjai Soul Stealer continues to look more and more like a Death Note. Ace over the back of the wall. They try and steal it, but the smite rings true. This is a close game, and it's more than a close game. It is a losing game for V3. It is CGA in the ascendancy. It is 4-2 and 6 now on this Jhin. It is 15 stacks in this Book of Souls in Arya's inventory. And Maswan, are we about to watch V3 fall as we're at 23 minutes and it is a 2,500 gold lead to CGA?
We've seen this before where they've been down 7k gold. The bot predicted this about the same amount of percentage that V3 will lose this, and V3 found a way back in. That time though, it was a 5k gold lead in DFM's favor. At one point, it went over 7k, but they found a way back in. I'm sure V3 can find a way back into this game. The big problem is Arya's on the Blanc. And I was slightly stunned that was allowed to happen. I haven't talked much through this replay, as in all seriousness, it's just V3 just finding pick after pick on a V3 member who was just out of position. There's not much more to analyze out of that one. V3 were just out of characteristic. They were out of spots where they shouldn't be. Archer shouldn't have been caught out there. Nap shouldn't be allowed to have the opportunity there to reset and get onto him. That's all she wrote.
It's a little problematic. I completely agree. You can see the Zhonya's starting to come in for Boogie, gone towards that Seeker's Arm Guard to survive a fair amount of the fairly heavy AD burst. Arya's damage stick all the more as a result. You can see that gold difference swing. It started pretty well for V3, then it kind of stalled, and then it got flipped. Now there's a QSS in for Gango, who's going to be a lot harder to deal with. Yes, there's 2 items on this Kalista, but that's good news. But Jin's going to get scarier and scarier. Is Kalista not the greatest scaling AD carry as well?
No, she's really not the greatest. She's okay at scaling, but the thing is, you more pick her partly as just a way to remove objectives around the map, specifically obviously dragons and barons, because you get that security with your jungler going, okay, I'm going to press my button, you press your button, we'll do it at the same time, they can never get this objective over us. They can't steal it. And that's just the control you get. As well as also being able to stack it throughout a prolonged teamfight with the Runan's Hurricane. Yeah, she gets to deal a lot of damage. The problem is she wants a teamfight to go for a half period of time, as opposed to Jin, who is more than happy to do 3 shots and you're dead.
Paz, maybe a little bit too far up here. Arya up here. That is the Deadly Flourish coming through. Paz throws Arya into the Death Realm, looking to 1v1 this LeBlanc, but I don't know how well that one goes, buddy. There's Death's Grasp and Darkness Rising. There's a shield for a moment, and the Obliterate lands and forces the clone. But it's still Gango who comes along and secures a kill with a ruthless critical strike on that 4th shot.
The longer this game keeps going, and the more this just keeps happening, it looks like the nail is on the coffin for V3. It's gonna be a hard one for them to do it, but if any team in the LGL can find the way back into this game, it would be. They've done it before. They could definitely do it again.
They're going to have to do it again. They absolutely are, but CGA, they're 26 minutes in. They have got 6 kills over V3. They have got a turret over V3. They're even in Dragons. This is the most V3 have been pushed this late into a game, and I need to know how V3 play from this far behind at this point in the game. We saw versus DFM. They fought back 5-6 minutes ago. This is starting to head towards late game team fights from behind, and I don't know how V3 is going to play that. They've not necessarily got the best comp for it, unless they can land some really exquisite poke between Jace and Nidalee.
So last time when when V3 turned it, it was at the 24-25 minute mark. That's when it all changed and went in their favor. As you said, Initialize, we're at 27 minutes. We're starting to get to that place where if they're going to change the game flow, they need to do it now. And they need to do it very fast. The problem is I don't think CGA have allowed them in the pick and ban phase to really build a comp that allows them to do that. Jace is not a champion that is really good at kind of picking up and just randomly doing a bunch of damage when you hit a power spike. He needs another 2 items to really get there. I don't know if V3 are going to be given the time for that though.
And the Jace poke lands, but doesn't do all that much versus the Death's Dance and the Ninja Tabis that are in inventory of various members of CGA. Ocean Drake about to spawn, but Boogie has found Arya off to the side, and that's not a particularly pleasant thing, but Arya actually does take about half his HP bar in trade for his aggressive pathing. Grendel in the bush, off vision. They've spotted him now with a ward, and V3 will take command of this river and start up this Ocean Drake. Arya at half HP is a potential risk. If Paz can bring him into the Death Realm, it could get very, very scary. Grendel has flash. Could look for an engage. It's a root down onto Reiner already. Grendel's into the backline on top of Boogie, trying to keep that jungler at bay. The goal goes golden. Is that Nidalee? The dragon now at half HP. And wait, the spear claims that. And wait, Graves gets a steal onto the dragon. It will be Ocean Soul Point now for CGA. And a kill onto Paz. It's 1 for 1. And for once, Boogie cannot secure the dragon.
But that's worth really exaggerating. Archer was there the whole time, auto-attacking that dragon. There should have been no way CGA should have been able to solidify that and actually smite it. Somehow, miscommunication happened. Boogie used his smite. Unica didn't even smite it. He used his ultimate to secure it. This was unfathomable. Dominus was spot really early on, but Grendel's so far in the backline of V3. I'm a little bit confused what they're trying to accomplish here. They do happen to get Reiner really far out, but Paz is just so deep, just zoning the rest of the team. It wasn't the ultimate, actually. It was just an auto attack.
Smite's on cooldown, so I think he did get the smite off.
Did he?
I think it was smite auto.
Oh, was it the auto?
I think it's smite auto. I think it's what he got it with there.
But even then, Boogie had his smite, didn't use it. Archer must have popped it, and Boogie didn't smite it. Oh.
Maybe he had to use the Ren during the fight. Couldn't save it. I don't know.
But he was he only had pressure from Grendel. Regardless, Arya has 19 stacks on his Magi.
And a Banshee's Veil.
And a Banshee's Veil.
So he can pull off that ye old I hope over the wall. You can't do anything about it while I throw Sigils of Malice at you, and you kind of have to sit there and take it. Which
so playing a virtual
sucks.
Zoe is what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah, but this is a Zoe who can choose when she goes back.
Very powerful. You have many hats.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. That AI bot now heading up to the 87% win rate chance for V3 for CGA rather. And that is a fantastic spot to be in for CGA. They can taste it, Maswan. Victory ain't so far away. They are one dragon away from Ocean Soul. They have got a pretty well scaling squad hitting past the 30-minute mark. And this 2-item Callista isn't going to be that great later on. V3 need to pull out a miracle if they want to keep this streak alive, or they will pull a DFM and fall at 9 games long.
Well, a big part of how they needed to stay in that was first by actually securing that Ocean Drake and having Ocean Soul in their favor, forcing CGA to maybe find an unfavorable way into the Dragon Pit to have to contest them. Problem is, CGA now don't have that problem. It's actually on the opposite foot, and V3 are probably going to have to find the priority in. They also don't have mid priority, which is going to be important, especially around this Dragon and this Baron that has been live, and CGA are dancing around, just seeing, just going to limit test, see what V3 are interested in doing, and they're gaining a lot of information by just playing around the map here, putting some vision out, seeing how V3 react to it. Maybe they're going to try and find a bait and get some deep wards in as well.
We're just shy of a 3,000 gold lead for CGA at this point. Well, it's not that much at 30 minutes, but it is a gold lead. And it's a pressure advantage right now, and V3 are looking a little lost. They're trying to figure out what play do they make.
Do you want to know where managed to get almost all that gold is?
Tell me.
2k is basically on Arya, 1k is on Nap. That's the whole advantage for CGA at the moment.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Paz has been put in the dirt, and speaking of being put in the dirt, it'll at least go into the Death Realm and buy some time. Boogie is now around looking to try and counter-gank this out. And Paz will survive this dive, but the Death Realm is once again burned. And this Mordekaiser has been basically the more and die part of the name. It's been very appropriate. Obviously, I butchered the pronunciation there, but you do it for the memes.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. This Ocean Drake is going to be up in 50 seconds. This is do or die for V3. They have no other options.
Can't give that up. Arya is in the bush. That is a chain onto Aces. Get as much as you'd like. The Banshee still stays active because that shot didn't land. V3 will once again be first to the river. Arya is just spending his time hopping in and out that bush. That's a trap in there which will offer vision, and Archer just shoving out this wave, using the lantern to get back out. And that mid lane tier 1 still stands for CGA. Unreal stuff.
Yeah, and that just means they have priority. They have this priority, which they're just denying from all of the members of V3. V3 are going to get collapsed upon very soon.
That's the hook missing. Reiner trying to find something, anything, but Grendel once again with that flash.
4,
with the showstopper
3,
could be problematic in the
2,
background. Nap as well
1.
is looking to find a flank. He's on vision, but here we go. The Ocean Soul fight commences. Nap has a fabulous flanking position again. Curtain call comes up, and this will be Act 4 of the Dragon fight. for this particular one, and that's a huge slice into the backline. The Flay buys time. Nap very, very low. It does go down to the Ren, but the showstopper from Grendel looks for the re-engage. Boogie trying to find something over the back of it, but it will be Eunuch who claims Rhina's life. Arya now pretty low. Boogie continuing to trade. Gango trading back. Way afraid of the fourth shot. Boogie has to go golden, and the fourth shot's available. It will detonate. Whoever it so chooses will not quite kill Archer, but now Gango trying to come and get it. Boogie secures the dragon, and they are so low. They try to get the kills and fail. Now they're going to try and get out. Gango does get it with the deadly flourish, and Paz cannot escape. He's trying to see whether he can reset, whether he can escape, but Arya picks it up. Boogie in the backline trying to get onto Unica, but can't find the kill, and shut down onto Archer. Unica does help Arya secure Boogie's life, and that will be the ace in favor of CGA. 25 stacks becomes the Medjay, 7, 2, and 9 is the Jhin. And it's 35 minutes in, and finally we will see our first Baron of the game.
It doesn't matter how low their HP bars go, CGA is hungry, and oh yeah, they're still hungry. The stream just slowed for me and then decided to keep playing.
Second for me as well.
Yeah, it happened on the official stream and everything else, so it's fine by me. Baron secured. Okay. Right, this is going to be a really awkward one to watch back, because V3 missed a few skill shots, and it's basically ended up meaning if they hit one or two of them, they would have won this team fight. So, curtain calls used really aggressively. What's really unfortunate is Rhina, when the Kalista ult was thrown out, missed everybody, but Nap gets removed almost immediately because all 5 members just go on to him. Grendel's able to survive a really long time here, and Boogie finds his way around. He's full health at this point in time, except 1, 2, 3 almost deletes him immediately. Boogie went around. I love the pathing. The problem is he missed the spear and then got horrendously punished for it. Look at how low they go here, but watch what Paz does. They're just removed to solo. Gango, Arya, and Unica basically all run away because they're like, well, we can't do much more outside of getting that. Liandry's does kill Ace at the end of that. But now look at what Boogie 1, 2, Q, misses the Q again. And that's what was so unfortunate. Huge. So insane from Arya, though. Hasn't died. 25 stacks on this LeBlanc. And we can't say he's not the best mid laner. We said this is the best mid laner for a reason, right?
Yeah, he has, and he's found some pretty massive advantages in this game, and I wanted to call out as well, Gango had the Liandry's burn on him, and then got the Triumph healing from the kill with the Deadly Flourish to keep himself alive. So critical at the end of that fight. Now the siege continues, CGA trying to hold on to, the V3 trying to hold on to their base best as they can. Gango and Unica stepping up. V3 looking to potentially push back as best they can. Nap on vision, and will not be able to get in as quickly as he can. But Arya split pushing in that bot side as V3 push out in the mid lane. And that means that there is still pressure going down, still structures going down, and Paz has had to go down and respond to this LeBlanc. And we've seen how this goes before.
But look at this gold lead and what it's ballooned to. It's about a 7k gold advantage now in favor of CJ. 4k is sitting on Arya. 2k is sitting on there as a fight's breaking out.
It is, they're going straight in, and that's so much low health. Gango flashes, or uses the QSS at the very least, but it's already too late for Grendel, but not before Boogie dies, and Gango in the backline is showing why he is the Phantom of the Opera, and he will be calling curtains on this game if he has anything to say about it. It's 3 people dead again for V3, and it's only Grendel in response, and this Jhin is more like a nuclear warhead than a pistol in his hands. Hell, I know Halo's been coming out recently, but we didn't have to bring the hand cannon into this one. Right, we're going to see the siege onto the Nexus turret. One is down already. It's Archer and Jace against the world, but the Jace falls again. Arya steps forward. The QSS buys time, but not the life. Clone dies. Archer does survive, and maybe I'll be made a liar, but it doesn't matter, because CGA will break the win streak, and they will take down V3. CGA move up to 7 and 2. V3 fall to 9 and 1. And Arya, oh Arya, never give that man LeBlanc.
Never give him LeBlanc. Never give him anything. Maybe he's just the best, or maybe it's Maybelline. We're not quite sure, but we're probably going to have to gather our thoughts in regards to the team that just beat DFM, just now lost to CGA, but CGA before the break lost to Burning Core. Oh, we need a break for this, Initialize. I need to gather my thoughts so we can come at this with a coherent mindset. Come back to us after this break. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the LJL officially unofficial coverage of the LJL Summer 2020 split. I'm still your host, Alex, otherwise known as Lexi by Mars Swan on the internet. Of course, I'm joined by the illustrious man himself, Samuel Initialize Hapgood. So, we watched V3 go 9-0 to tie the FM spring record to then have this game.
No one beats that record, it feels like. V3 fall, and bluntly, it hit a point where V3 ran out of options in the mid-game. They really ran out of steam.
It wasn't even pretty. I mean, let's talk about the very early game. The first 2 kills for V3 going over to Reiner, and the first 3 kills for CGA going over onto their carries.
Yeah, it was a trade of Gango and Arya getting kills, I believe. What was it? Was it the Graves who got a kill? Either way,
I think it was like 1-1-1 in the end.
Either way, it split its way up.
Oh no, Arya got 2. Arya got 2 kills.
Yeah.
Even worse.
The point. And like that kind of discrepancy in early go when you are trying to snowball was problematic, and there was just some sloppy mechanical plays.
Yeah.
Like there was an attempted engage in the bot lane where Reiner fates calls into the wall. Like, he doesn't get over the wall, he fates call into the wall, ends up on a trap from Jhin, doesn't get anything done. Jhin gets to free fire and turn it around, and, like, it was not clean. And CGA did a really good job of punishing V3 in the mid-game, and especially... And, again, I think we do have to call out that Jace pick from Ace.
Yep.
said we weren't a big fan of it in spring, I can't say I was a big fan of it again here.
No, it was awful. He didn't rotate around anywhere near with the priority that he needed to. He didn't even match Arya. I think the big one that is coming to me is that first big extended team fight that happened in that bot lane when the teleportation came out from from Nap far before Paz teleported in. Arya walked down the lane, and then about it felt like almost 20 seconds later, Ace eventually showed up when the rest of his team were all dead. It was just it would have been far better if they had just continued pushing their lanes. If Ace had just kept pushing mid, Paz kept pushing top, let bot lane die. But at least try and get some other priority. They didn't do that, and CJ took that small little advantage, got it as huge as they could, and, well, they kept the game going in their momentum.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest times, it was V3 who had something of an advantage in that game, remember? Like, we saw Boogie came out to a 2-level lead on the Nidalee for a while, was up in items, was that kind of deal. We saw good gold leads, but it was just never clean. Unica sacked a lot of his jungle, basically to be there to counter gank a lot. And then it hit these sort of mid-game dragon fights, and like over on the official stream, you can sort of see like they managed to just punish this Jace super damn hard. Jace comes up, Jhin comes up, throws down the curtain call, Arya lands a chain, and the Jace falls. And then like
this is the fight.
Yeah, this is the fight down here where you could see that the Thresh messed up rather. Not even missed, just messed up trying to use the Fate's Call, and then at which point it goes. I think it ends up being a 3-for-1 in the end in favor of CGA. And like that's not what we've come to expect from V3, who have been generally speaking so much cleaner, and it was not a particularly pretty snowball. And V3 could have been up 2,000 gold at this point, and instead we're pretty damn even. Then we hit these mid-game dragon fights where they could not use the Kalista to secure the objectives they were looking for. They wanted to get that Ocean Soul, they could never get it, and they lost a lot of members trying to get it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a fight where, okay, we got one, we trade 2 for 1, but we got the dragon, it's okay. We killed Nap. At least we kept Nap down. That's okay. That's worthwhile. The problem was the game just kept going like that throughout it. And honestly, after they ended up doing that 5-man, but it was a stagnated one, it reminded me of the Axis game. The problem was it was actually V3 were getting collapsed upon. It was just a slow burn as opposed to Axis when they faced off against them. CGA just kind of played their standard game. It's not like they're doing anything particularly special. Arya gets LeBlanc and is able to just kind of vaguely show up to fights, do a lot of damage, standard LeBlanc stuff. It was just really disappointing from V3 as they drafted a comp that didn't work brilliantly together, and then they got punished for it.
Like, it would have been fun if they snowballed hard, because then you just basically siege with all the engage that the Kalista offers you with the Fate's Call, and then the Jace and the Nidalee blow you up with whoever they hit is the idea. But they didn't snowball very cleanly, and Gango hit this point on the Jhin where anybody who would want to actually kill him dies to a 4th bullet before they can kill him. Kalista hops forward and he goes, excellent, you're in range for this. Nidalee hops forward, gets, eviscerated. Jace has to try going into hammer form maybe to try and get an execute. Again, will die to the Jhin. And that became problematic when that's not even taking into account how well Arya was playing on LeBlanc as well.
Raises the question that maybe that Galio should have been prioritized, or even the LeBlanc for Ace should have been at least something they could have considered rather than the Jace.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been very AP heavy, but I kind of agree.
But then they didn't have to draft the Mordekaiser. They could have put an Ornn on Paz, and they know Ornn's fine. And there was multiple things, V3. This was the comp they decided, and, well, you have to live and die by it as your perfect streak to go into the record books to maybe tie DFM on their 2 perfect streaks that they've done in regular splits is no longer.
It's done.
It's over. Congratulations for CGA for getting that trophy. That will definitely be something we'll be talking about definitely in our podcast. But let's go on a very quick break, compose ourselves, and I believe we're going to be having another person coming to join us for the last bit.
Oh, yes, we will.
We'll get into that after this break. Anyway, we'll be back in just a moment.